Alexander, thank you for doing the podcast, my friend.
Hey, no problem, Mike, man. Hey, man, it's an honor for me, brother. No problem.
Oh, man, I got to tell you something. Little story. I started my podcast at the end of September, and I set a goal. I said, one of the first guests I want to have on within the first 10 episodes is my friend Houston Alexander. I shit you not. That was a goal. And today,
you sure you're not talking about the other Houston?
Today is my birthday.
Oh,
and it's
wow.
happening.
Yeah, I saw that. Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday.
Thanks, man. So
That's
I don't want to
crazy.
waste too much time. I'm going to go run through the gamut here because in my eyes, you are a modern Renaissance man. So,
oh man, hey, how so, Mike? How so?
Okay, I'm going to run through it, and if I'm missing anything, you can stop me.
Okay.
Roughly 16 years as a competitive fighter. Few years in the UFC, few years in Bellator, several years in different independent promotions.
Yep.
Graffiti artist, part of the original Scribble crew.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
DJ on Power 106.9.
Yeah, well, that's one of the accolades, yes, sir.
One of them. And then ambassador of the Houston Alexander Foundation, founder of the Culture Shock School Tour, which we're going to talk about. And now you are educating dumb guys like me through the Elements Live podcast, which you're just teaching a history lesson of hip hop.
Hey man, with the Elements, we're doing a little bit of everything.
That's awesome.
We're taking a little bit from music. We're taking a little bit from the culture. We're taking a little bit from politics. We're taking a little bit from community. We're kind of blending it all together, man. So we're taking different elements from all that.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man.
I watched the episode last night with Busy B. That was amazing.
hey man, busy is crazy, man.
Oh man, there was a moment where he kind of went off about disco records, and I'm just sitting there because I saw the look on your face and your eyes got about this big.
No, what it was, he was talking about DJ Hollywood.
Right.
There was a guy back in the day who claims he was hip hop, but he wasn't, and because Busy B was there back then, and it was this DJ called DJ Hollywood, and DJ Hollywood was a grown man and wasn't even thinking about hip hop back then. Matter of fact, as Busy B said, it wasn't even called hip hop back then, but this guy claimed to be of the culture, and he wasn't. So he was really he gets really mad, or a lot of the old heads get mad at DJ Hollywood because Hollywood cared nothing about the culture back then. He was just a disco DJ.
Right.
So I understood him getting mad. I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, right.
Man.
So let's briefly talk about fighting. How did you get into MMA?
Of course, I tell the story all the time. A friend of mine, her name was Annie Houston. Annie Houston went to a bar where they was in town in Omaha, Nebraska, where they were doing these open fights. People were signing up to either do wrestle or they were doing MMA. It was some form of MMA, something like that. And it was in the Smoky Bar. The Chad Mason who had a production company where they were doing it in the bars. And so a friend of my friend knew I kind of wrestled and boxed a little bit over the years, and she told me about this event, but she asked me to come, and so I came, and I was amazed because they would have people sign up to get in the ring with each other, and she dared me to get in the ring with this guy. And this guy, this guy was 6'3". This guy was huge. He was like one of the wrestlers, one of these college wrestlers who was in town or from out of town, but he went to the local college. And so she dared me to get in the ring, and of course you can't dare me. I've been a good street fighter all my life, and so I signed up. And next thing you know, I was in the ring with this big behemoth wrestler, in a bar, in a smoky bar in the early 2000s.
Man, was that Bourbon Street?
That was Bourbon Street.
Shit, I remember that.
But I believe they called it Club Amnesia.
Right. Yep.
So Bourbon, I think either it was Bourbon Street or it was both. But Club Amnesia and yeah, man, that was my first unsanctioned fight in the ring. And it's funny. I when I hit the guy, because I, of course I was pretty strong back then. Even more so back then. I hit the guy so hard, his nose. I've never seen so much blood all over the place. But along with the blood came all the smoke. So I don't think we really finished the fight because it was so much smoke. We both couldn't finish probably. But yeah, it was a first time, and I was hooked, man. I was hooked ever since. But I went out there and gave them a good show, and they wanted me to come back.
That's what I was gonna ask. Was it just one of those things where you got a taste of it, and then it was like, I got to do this some more?
Well, hey, man, I got a taste of it, but again, I was already fighting on the streets,
right?
And that's yeah, I was a pretty good fighter on the street, and I was one of those few people that had them hands. And so because I'm originally from East St. Louis, and you had to have hands in East St. Louis. So coming to Omaha, I always got tested all the time because I had a St. Louis twang, and people made fun of me all the time about my twang. So I always got tested from the time I was there in St. Louis, East St. Louis, till now. And so I've always been able to fight, man, from day one.
So how did that progress to your first fight, UFC 71 in the UFC?
Well, I got with the promotion at Bourbon Street or Club Amnesia, whatever your period of time meshes with it. But I started training with Chad. I started training with Chad. I started training jiu-jitsu. I started training kickboxing and boxing, and I started putting it all together with Chad Mason. Chad was one of the first guys that actually helped, and I started meeting all these coaches over the years. But for a long time, man, Mike, I was fighting in these smaller circles all the time, all over the Midwest. I fought in Illinois. I fought different parts of the Midwest, man. And I fought in small bars. I fought in arenas. I fought in on football fields. I fought everywhere, and I fought 2 times in one night. I fought 5 times in one night. So that was a lot of accumulation of fights over the years, man. Up until 07. Before I even thought about the UFC, because I never really watched the UFC because I was too busy fighting. You know what I'm saying? I was too. Why watch the UFC when I was already fighting and already doing it on a consistent basis? I was fighting once a week in Des Moines for almost 2 years.
Right.
So if I'm fighting once a week in Des Moines, how many weeks are in a year?
52.
Okay, yeah. Now it's 52 weeks in a year, and I fought damn near every week of that of 2 years. So how many fights would that be if I fought every week for 2 years?
104, my friend.
That's a lot. That's a lot of fights, bro.
That's a lot of damn fights.
I've been fighting since 2002.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, like listening to you explain that is very similar. I come from the music world, and I played in bands for years. So it's kind of the same journey, or a similar journey, I should say. Whereas like I'm playing these little hole in the wall bars, or I'm playing at a West Fair amphitheater, or somebody's high school gymnasium or whatever, just to get the damn gig, right?
But Mike, you had you had the experience of going anywhere. Yes. On that spectrum, you guys could play in a high school, you could play in an arena, you could play in a small bar. You guys were equipped to play any place.
Right. And that's the thing that I talk to when I talk to people about my experiences, because I've been out of it for a while. But when I talk to people about my experiences, I say, I've got all these roads that I've traveled. I might not have a lot to show for it after it's been all said and done, but I got stories.
Sometimes stories for days, but not even just the stories, man. You have an experience you can share with someone else.
Absolutely. And
that's it. That's why you got the podcast.
That's right. That's how I ended up doing this shit.
There you go, man.
So let's talk a little bit about what you did after you've kind of, or as you were kind of making your transition out from fighting.
Uh-huh.
What, like some of the other things that you've got going on, in particular, the Culture Shock School Tour. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. It wasn't even a transition because I was doing these things before I even started fighting.
Yeah,
I was already doing graffiti art. I was b-boying, I was breakdancing. I was doing production with music. I was doing radio. I was promoting. I was a promoter on the streets. So I was doing other things other than fighting because fighting was just one of those things where it was just it was a hobby to me. You know what I'm saying? So, but my real job, of course, was in radio, and first radio station I ever worked for, they were looking for a way to get integrated into the communities, because they wanted to, stamp their brand in the communities. And I came up with a concept of going into the schools and teaching the kids about the hip hop culture. Because, growing up, the kids know nothing about the culture. If you ask a kid now, the average kid, what's the difference between rap, beatboxing or this and that, they wouldn't know that it's part of a bigger culture, which is the hip hop culture. A lot of people say, well, I do hip hop. There's no way you can do hip hop. You should be hip hop because it's the culture. And people say, well, I listen to hip hop music. Well, rap is a culture, an element in the hip hop. So you should say, I listen to rap music, or I listen to rap because it's part of the culture. But they asked me to put together a program, which I already had been thought about already. And we started executing it, going to the schools and asking the principals if we can go in and teach the kids about the culture because they knew nothing of it.
Right. That's awesome. That's amazing. Like I just shared a news clip from last year that they did about the Culture Shock Tour. And I tell you what, man, watching all those kids get into it, like, that's got to be a reward in and of itself.
Hey, just put it this way: if you can educate and entertain children, getting in front of adults is nothing.
Right. Absolutely.
Man, even though the kids are amused by a lot of things, if you are boring, they're going to tell you, and they're going to show you how boring you are. So you gotta make sure that you keep their attention, and you got to make sure you're exciting.
Right. And all of these things that you've been involved with, they kind of all intertwine with each other, don't they?
Yeah, they all intertwine with each other, and I've been doing it, man, from day one. From the time I listened to rap music up until the time I learned how to dance, up until the time I learned how to do graffiti art, up until the time I started, doing production, promotion, production, all that. These are things I applied myself to over the years, man, because I love the culture that much. And with that being said, you have if you're enjoying the culture, then you gotta enjoy the people and different other cultures that love the same culture as well. So with hip hop, man, if you got all these people who enjoy the same thing, then we're all family. We're all part of the same culture. So no matter if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, we're all with hip hop. We're all part of the same culture, and that's why I loved it, man. Not loved it. I love the culture itself.
That's something that kind of exudes itself through your social media. You're one of my most favorite social media follows, and I'm going to get back to that here in the next couple of minutes. Because
hey, don't tell the Trump supporters that they think that I'm bashing Trump, Trump. And I don't bash the man. What I do is I put out the information and see what where it resonates, because as a grown man with children, I cannot believe some of the things that I see come out of our government.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? And it starts with the leader of the free world, man. If you got a man that lies all the time, you wouldn't want your kids to lie all the time.
Right.
And if you were a bad husband who cheated on your wife, you wouldn't want that.
Right.
You wouldn't want some of the things like that what that man does. So that's another story, brother. But I put stuff out there in social media, but I never put anything personal out
Right.
there.
Right. Well, there's
Because
two.
I stopped doing that a long time ago. But yeah, but social media is that social media for social activities.
There's two things that I've really enjoyed about your social media. One, recently, probably within the past 6 months or so, you've kind of been throwing up these little biographies of different figures.
Yeah.
A lot from the hip hop culture and the extension of hip hop culture. But the other thing that you do that I've really enjoyed is your tagline is always "good people in the neighborhood." And it's just like a random Joe hanging out working at the convenience store and a
Yeah,
picture
man.
of you and him, and it's like, man, you are making heroes out of everyday heroes, because I think that's really important, man. I think everyday people tend to be unsung a whole lot.
Right. Yeah, man. And people, I get this from my coach all the time. He's 70 years old, over 70 years old, and he tells me, "Hey, man, if you want to experience life, just keep living, and if you want to know the meaning of life, just keep living. And the more you keep living through life, the more that you know that people are mainly good people. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
People are just, hey man, we're just living, and we're all just trying to coexist together. And people just want to feel important, man. People just want to feel important. So sometimes it's just not about you. I don't make anything about I've been blessed, and I've been lucky to be in the situations I've been. But some of it's not luck. Some of it's just a lot of old-fashioned hard work, man. And if I'm working harder than you, I can't help that. But you have to recognize them everyday people, man. When you're out and about, and if you got some people that look up to you, that's cool. That's cool and all. But I'm looking up to you, and I believe there was the dancer, the street dancer, Shabba said, if you respect me, it's because I'm a reflection of you.
Oh, that's
And that's how I
fantastic.
see that's how I see people. If you respect me, I'm a reflection of you.
Yeah, and that's one of my mentors had a line for me one time, and it says, "You are an individual, but so is everybody else."
Yep.
And that's how you
Exactly.
come to a more common understanding with people.
Yeah,
And
man.
that's especially in a year like this, man, because this year we can outline all the shitty things that have happened in 2020, but like
Yeah.
reconnecting on levels like this, even just like you and I having this conversation, might
Hmm.
be some of the best things that have happened with
Well,
2020. And we're not
Mike, I told a friend of mine that what this pandemic, even though as negative as it been, and my prayers go out to all the families that lost their loved ones. We've connected. Again, we've evolved, and we've connected in a way to where everyone's on a level playing field now.
right.
Even people on television, when they pan to someone that's living at home, and you can see what's in their background. You can see their books, you can see their plants, you can see cats in the background scratching their balls or licking their balls. You know what I'm saying? It's just funny because it puts everyone on a level playing field. You got your kids in the background, and and it just happens organically. If and it's just it made this situation, this pandemic has made everyone equal on the same, and put us all on the same playing field.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So
In so many words.
so I'm going to give you an opportunity for two things here. I want
Yeah.
you to give me one rant about 2020 that's not about politics and not
Mhm.
about COVID. Go.
One rant.
Yes, sir.
Okay, one rant. Um, people, I have a problem with people getting mad over bullshit. See, why are you getting mad over toilet paper?
Right.
The company's gonna make more toilet paper. Why are people grabbing the ball of toilet paper? Okay. Why are people getting mad in traffic? Why do you have road rage? Why? We're all going, we're all on the road, you know, but that's the rant what's one of the rants that I would have other than COVID, other than politics, it would be, why are people so angry towards each other?
Yeah.
Why? You know,
Yeah.
it's and I don't. We probably never know, but why are people so angry at each other? That's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So on the flip side of that, what's one
Give it to
good
me.
thing about 2020? What is the best thing about 2020?
People connecting with each other on platforms like this. You know, to
Agreed.
where it's almost like Messenger and Zoom and all these different platforms knew something like this could happen. So, and you know, we're all connecting in ways like this. You know, where we're up close and personal now. You know, I just spoke to again Michael Jai White, who played Spawn, who played the character in the Batman movie. You know,
Mhm.
you know, this is one of the guys I looked up to. You know, coming into the game, and this, you know, when we're connecting like that, that's real big to me. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly
Yeah,
agree.
connection, connect. We're more intimate now. We have
Yes.
to be. We have to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely we do. So changing course here a little bit.
Yep.
You just spent some time in Fort Polk.
Yep. Louisiana.
Oh man, how was that?
Hey man, hey, shouts out to all the chaplains out there who brought us all out there. Chaplain Marr, Chaplain Pierce, and all those shouts out to all those guys out there who got us down there to make sure we uplifted the troops a little bit. But it was cool, man. We had I believe we had a little bit over 800 soldiers, man. That Ryan with Ryan and Jeremy Horn. We went down there just to show these guys how to protect themselves or how to get in combat, man. So physical contact.
Right.
So it was almost it was us going down. I mean, let me bring it back a little bit. Let me get my thought
Sure.
together. We went down to Fort Polk to train soldiers and how to quickly resolve a situation through MMA.
That's awesome.
You know, and we some of the things that we showed them. There was a lot of soldiers that really related to them, man. And we have people from the smallest to the biggest. We're very happy we came down.
well, and that's the thing about MMA, jiu-jitsu in particular. It's
Yeah.
it's proof that, you know, a lot of times it's not necessarily strength, but it's technique. And
Yeah.
and like if you can get your technique lined up correctly, then the rest is gravy, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though. There's a flip side of that coin.
Yeah.
But again, we had Jeremy Horn, Ryan Jensen, myself, and I forgot the other young man's name, and he probably killed me if he saw this podcast. But it was all of us who went down there
Sure.
to train the soldiers. And what you said, jiu-jitsu is a very technical element of MMA, but size matters. You're not going to be five. You're not going to be a 5'1" guy trying to choke out some 6'9" guy. Size matters, man. So let that be known to all you guys out there trying to. Hey, I know jiu-jitsu now, and you're a little small person trying to go up against somebody 6'9". So it's just not. Sometimes it's just good just to walk away.
I'm glad I threw this question at you like that.
Your jiu-jitsu is not going to work if you're a small guy up against a big guy.
I'm glad you answered like that, because I took your stance against a jiu-jitsu instructor. I'm like, Well, size does matter. Strength does matter because you could always
Uh-huh.
fight dirty, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're always because when you're fighting, if you're fighting on the streets, nobody's fighting by the rules. There's
Right.
no one's fighting by jujitsu rules. But hey, but I'm gonna tell you what's the good equalizer though. These hands. These hands are hey, you smack somebody in the mouth. You say that's the great equalizer.
Oh man. Oh man. So so right now, of all the things you got going, I don't know how
Yeah.
you find time in the day.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's the military style, brother. You gotta you from the time I get up, from the time I go to bed, man. There's always structure. You gotta structure yourself.
Well, hey, I'm glad you brought that up. What's your training routine like? Because you're still getting after it every day,
Yeah,
right?
man, every morning I get up at 6 o'clock or at least by 5. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm headed to the gym by that time. And right now, instead of if I wasn't doing your podcast, I'll be going to B&B. I'll be going to Bud Crawford's gym to spar with some of the guys over there.
Oh,
And so,
shoot.
I find time to get it in. I find time to keep my skill set sharp. And so, it's just making time to do so. And if you can make time, if it's important to you, you'll make time for it.
When things started shutting down in early March and the gyms
Yeah.
started closing, did that impact your training schedule at all?
Oh no. You know why? I got equipment here. I got treadmills here. I got the bike machine. I got equipment here because I kind of if I don't need to go to the gym. I go to the gym because it's convenient.
Right.
But I got all the things I need here.
Adapt and overcome, right?
Adapt and overcome, brother. That's it.
Cool. So if you were to pick an era of hip hop that's your personal favorite, something
Okay.
you like more, just really sunk in with you, what's your favorite era of hip hop?
You know what, man, that's tough.
I know.
I think my favorite era would probably be, man. Of course, it had to be the golden age of the '90s. That would probably be, probably be tops because there were so many groups coming out. There was so many different styles, and I think everyone was finding by the '90s, by the mid '90s, everyone was finding their way with production, with lyrics. Everyone was trying to be original. So that's when, to me, that's when hip hop or the culture itself was at its peak. And rap music was at its peak because everyone tried to be different and everyone sounded different and everyone sounded good. But if it wasn't for the era between 87 and 1990, that era where it kind of catapulted everything. You had the Kid and Plays, you had the KRS-Ones, you had the Rakim, you had that era that really kind of set it off. They were just radio enough, but they were just street enough. But that era is still knocking at the door of being one of my favorite. But the '90s, mid '90s was probably the better era.
Yeah, I always find myself going back to the 90s stuff. I've been trying to embrace some of the new artists out there. I just can't. Who do I need to be listening to right now, Houston?
Who do you need to be listening to right now?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a tough one. You know what? What do you need? I like I like Nipsey.
Nipsey Hussle.
I like Nipsey. I like Nipsey. And say here's the thing. Me playing independent music on the radio at the radio station. Nipsey was one of the artists I knew was a good artist. I played a lot of Nipsey's music because he was a mixture of like Game, like the artist, the Game.
Yeah.
Game is he's a good mixture of West Coast and the East Coast. And Nipsey Hussle is the same for this generation of artists. Nipsey, I like Nipsey Hussle's message. I like his flow and I like his choice of music. So if I had to choose from this day's artists, would probably be Nipsey for me.
Awesome. So in the same line of thinking,
Yeah.
Who are some new fighters we should be keeping our eyes on? And I know you got a few because you and I talked on the phone the other night.
Yeah. I like the style bender.
Oh yeah.
I like the style bender. I like Khabib. Khabib is a monster, man. He's a monster. You know, I like Drew Dober,
Yes.
obviously, because he's from the area. Yeah, he's on like a 4 or 5 fight winning streak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I like Anthony Smith. He just showed people last month that he's still in there as far as contending. There's a lot of guys out here. What's the other gentleman? And I keep missing his name. That Need, the wrestler, couple of years ago, about a year ago.
Jorge Masvidal.
I like Masvidal. I like him. You know, he trained. You know, I saw videos with him fighting with Kimbo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, they were in the backyard, so that was real cool to see. I like him. But, you know, there's a few guys I like, but those are some of the guys I like. Of course, you gotta like Jones.
You can like Jones.
Okay.
But who are some?
Hold on. You back it up, Mike. What you say?
I said you can like Jones. Like
you got. But see, Bones Jones, man. He's probably one of the better athletes. But I think again, life choices kind of had him go left field. But you still got to respect this man's ability.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You know, and I know this guy personally. I know a few of those guys still personally, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And one of my favorite before Rashad retired, I loved watching him.
Yeah.
Rashad Evans.
Yep. Yeah. So who are some up and comers, like some unsigned talent that we should be watching out for?
Oh man, you have I'm working with Ellie Grapp. She's a boxer, and she hits really hard, Mike. she hit me one time. She hit me. I got mad because she hit me so hard. I'm like, hold up, we're supposed to be sparring, not fighting. But she's one of the people that I'm working with that's up and coming. And Ron Coleman Jr. is another. He's doing MMA, but he's probably physically probably one of the strongest guys I've ever even sparred with or wrestled with. And matter of fact, Ron was one of the first guys who trained with me when we were training for UFC 71.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Ron was 16 at the time.
Oh wow.
So that's how much of a monster he is. He's about 28 right now, and he's just now getting his feet wet with MMA, which I told him back then to get involved with it. But he was a four-time heavyweight state champion in wrestling here in Omaha.
Oh wow!
In the state of Nebraska, he was the only heavyweight to do that.
Wow! So is he still fighting in heavyweight?
No, he's fighting at heavyweight. So he's probably good 240. But he's again. I don't know anyone stronger than Ron, and we're working with him, and hopefully we can get them on a podcast because those guys we got to catch them before they start flourishing, you know. But those are the two people that I'm working with right now that are really good.
Well, you know they have an open invitation with me, my friend.
Of course, get them going.
We'll get them. So. Moving into the new year, we're sitting in the holiday season. We're about to start a new year. What's your message after we turn the new year? Where are we headed for this next year?
Hey, let's start over. You know, let's push the restart button and let's start treating people with respect. Let's start treating people as human beings. I know, and I know this past couple of years have been real trying because there's been a lot of lying, a lot of misinformation. There's been a lot of just wrong being done to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? No matter what walk of life you're from, let's just push the restart button and let's start treating people with respect. You know, I know the internet is one of those places where people can pretend to be someone else. But when you get off the internet, which I call the internet the matrix, when you get off the internet, you have to deal with people on a one-on-one base. So either you learn to respect the next person, or you're going to always be locked in the matrix trying to be something you're not. Okay, so one thing I would love for people to do is let's push the restart button and let's start respecting each other.
I wholeheartedly agree. I couldn't agree more, man. Like,
that's all. Hey, man, you don't have to like me, but you're gonna respect me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Half the time I don't like you, Mike, but I respect you.
Oh man! Oh,
hey man.
No, for real. Like, I was just thinking about that today. It's like, how do we get out of this mess? And I think it's just figuring out a way to be a little bit more understanding and compassionate of people.
Yeah.
And embracing our differences instead of criticizing our differences.
But Mike, it starts with respect.
Yes, I agree.
Respect me, I respect you. I respect your culture. You respect mine. You respect my space. I respect you. You know, and I think respect is a big factor in all of this. You know.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, and honestly, going back to the start of the podcast, that is one of my favorite things about you, Houston, is, you know, I sent you a message to get you on the show, and I'm like, we've run into each other over the years, and just brush past each other, and I said, I've always been a fan of you, and you said to me, friend Mike, not fan, until you prove
we don't man, we're past the fan thing, and once we know each other, brother, unless you show me something different, man, we're friends up until that point,
I love it. Houston, you are a good man. You are one of my favorite people. Thank you very much for doing the podcast. I really appreciate you doing it, taking time out of your afternoon, missing out on a training session at Bud Crawford's gym to hang out with this dork.
I can still make it, Mike. I probably still can. I got my bag ready, man. I can still make it.
Well, hey, man, thank you very much. It's been a great honor talking with you, my friend.
Hey, man, Mike, I appreciate it, brother. It's been an honor for me, man. And hopefully your podcast does well. And if we can get people to go check out our podcast, the Elements Live, which it's on all the different platforms. Check out the Houston Alexander Foundation. We're doing a lot for the kids and a lot for the people in the community. And just check out all my social media sites under Houston Alexander, and we can go from there.
And those of you that are listening to this podcast, I will be posting links on the Caught on the Mic Facebook page to all of Houston's different ventures. And please give them a like, share, follow. Check out Elements Live. I'm excited to see what happens with that podcast.
Hey, man. Hey, we got. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you. On your podcast I'm telling you how we're starting our year off, Mike. We are going to interview Chuck Liddell.
Oh, no way.
You starting off, man. We're starting off the year interviewing Chuck Liddell.
Oh shit.
we got confirmation. I got confirmation last night that Chuck Liddell is going to be our first interview starting off the new year.
You might have to zoom in, brother, on that call.
Hey man, hey man, that's crazy. It's gonna be crazy because how many interviews have you seen with Chuck Liddell?
Very few, and they're brief.
Very few, man. And I had to pull my fighter card out and ask him to do it. Hey man, can you do this for us? He was like, man, no problem. Hey man, and he's so laid back. He's a California guy, so he's laid back. He's like, man, sure, I'll do it. I was like, wow. That easy.
That easy.
But maybe that's the fighter thing coming out. So
yep.
So that's cool, man. But it's hopefully we'll have a lot of good things happen for our podcast this year, man. And hopefully we can share that information so we can ask these people if they can do yours.
Man, we will collaborate as much as we possibly can.
Let's do it. That's what it's all about.
That's the name of the game.
That's what this year has done is put everybody on the same playing field.
Yeah, and maybe that's our theme for 2021. It's all about collaboration and love and respect for everybody around you.
That's it. Let's push the restart button right now.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Houston.
We just do it.
You know it. You know it. All right, man. Thank you very much.